If you're dating an avoidant, it's important for you to understand how to communicate with them. Very often we say that people break up because of lack of communication or miscommunication. And if you want to get back together, if you want to build a strong bond with that person, it's also important to master communication. And I'll explain in this video the do's and the don'ts of communicating with an avoidant.
igetmyexback.com. Everyone deserves a second chance.
So let's start with the do's. So it's important to respect their need for space and autonomy. And I'm going to say that a lot throughout the video. Whenever they do something based on their insecurities, i.e. when they deactivate their attachment style, don't take it personally. And you have to respect that and understand that this is how you need to, where you need to navigate the space. It's important to use direct communication. Don't let any sort of assume that they understand what you want or think that they think like you. So if you complain about something, if you are upset about something, don't expect them to necessarily relate to you. It's also important to be a role model and encourage dialogue, but asking non-invasive questions. So again, it's very difficult. You have to navigate and go step by step, because if you're too much, if you prompt that person and you invade or you put pressure on them, they will pull back, they will withdraw. So it's about also being patient, being consistent, and overall building that trust gradually. Okay, so it's important to really understand that first you don't function like them, that it's not personal if they need space, and that you have to guide them, and I will explain that a little bit after. The don'ts is take their need for space as rejection. As I said, it's important for you to understand that's how they function. Also, avoid pressuring them. Anything that you do or say that could be perceived as putting pressure on them, you have to stop. You have to adapt. You have to ask yourself, like, do I really need that? Is it coming from a place of insecurity? Am I trying to fill a gap? And so on and so forth. Don't minimize their need for space, and understand, find a way, a structure, a dynamic that would work for both of you. And ask yourself the question whether their need for independence works for you, because it depends. Sometimes people have such a need for independence that it's very hard to be in a relationship with them. Don't use guilt, don't use manipulation, don't try to get them to do something, because as soon as they realize that, it's over, it's game over. It's very important as well to understand, and that's why I put patient in the previous slide, that this doesn't happen overnight. By experience and being an avoidant, it's all about consistency, it's all about the journey. Realizing that, hold on, my need for space can impact the relationship. But don't expect them to get it right away, and to be vulnerable right away, and to be open to communicating right away. It's going to take a bit of time. And it's going to take a bit of time, but it's doable if you do the right things, if you create the right space. And this is really the thing you have to do. More than communication is creating the space, creating an environment for them to open up. It's by being non-judgmental. So very often we assume that avoidant, because they want to come across as strong, they're not sensitive. But actually the reason they put people at arm's length is because they are sensitive. They are sensitive to rejection. They are sensitive about things people can say about them. So it's important to let them speak, express themselves, don't judge, welcome their thoughts. Because also when they open up, it's such a huge effort that if you dismiss them, because that's what happened when they were children, they're going to be like, okay, I've tried, it's over. I'm going to get back to my old ways of doing things. So it's about reassuring them, offering support. Again, it's welcoming them. It's not about prompting them, it's just creating the space and letting them do the work. So as I said, don't dismiss contribution or effort to communicate. Another thing, the frustration here is that you would feel, well, he's done just a little bit. He said just a little bit. She opened up just a little bit. For them, it's huge. And that's the big problem, is that we always have this discrepancy between how we feel comfortable sharing as someone secure or anxious versus what an avoidant is comfortable sharing. And very often there's a huge discrepancy and we feel like he's not making any effort, she's not making any effort. And this is why it's important for you to be patient, but also assess whether they are making progress. Assess whether they're on the way, they are showing a willingness to be more secure. If they don't, as I say in many of my videos, if you're dating someone avoidant, who likes to be avoidant, who don't see any problem being avoidant, you are wasting your time and you should try to find someone who, regardless of their insecurities, is willing to do the work to build a sustainable relationship with you. Emotional connection is very important, and it goes, and it happens through communication. So it's very important for you to lead the way. Share your own vulnerabilities. Show them, like, if I tell you something about myself, if I share with you my fears, you'll understand, because you care about me, because you love me, that I'm not less of a better person. I'm not weak. You're just teaching them how to build intimacy. As I said, recognize their effort, even if small. Don't overdo it, obviously, but understand that it's an effort. It's also the other thing you have to understand is sometimes we need emotional support, and sometimes we want to vent. The problem is that when you do it too much with an avoidant, they will withdraw. They will be, okay, but I don't know what to say. You're crying. What should I do? Should I hug you? Should I kiss you? Should I leave the room? Their impulse will be like, I don't want to get involved with that. So you need to teach them a little bit like you would teach a kid. Very often I tell my clients who are dating avoidant, treat them as kids, because they haven't been shown the way when they were younger. They don't know what it is to be affectionate, to have emotions, to share emotions, and so on. Also understand that intimacy is something that you build up, so you have to assess when they're comfortable, and don't push intimacy more than they're sort of capable of doing. I admit that those tips are very generic, and I apologize for that. But in the context of a video, I can't really go too much into the details and have a lot of examples and almost some scripts. So have a look in the description. I put together a guide if you're dating someone avoidant and you want to know whether it's the right solution, it's the right way, whether you should stay with them, but also how to make it work. Because you can make it work. As my wife, it's possible. And your partner doesn't have to be a therapist. It's just about their willingness to do the work. And in this guide, I'll show you the signs and the things you need to assess, because sometimes people try to make it work, but the person they have in front of them, the person they're sharing their life with, is not willing to do the work. And this brings me to the healthy boundaries. It's very important to understand that, yes, you need to adapt your communication. Yes, you need to adapt how you build up intimacy, but at the same time, you need to also show and establish your boundaries. So limit their boundaries, obviously, but clearly communicate yours. Do things that will promote independence. So very often, what overwhelms avoidant is we're like, we always do things together. You can't do something without me. So if you have a hard time, for example, doing things on your own or not with your husband or your wife, try to do more activities where they will see, okay, he or she knows how to be independent. And that doesn't put me a lot of pressure in terms of what should I do this weekend, what should I do tonight, etc., etc. It's very important, and this is the key element here. You shouldn't sacrifice your own needs. And so the job, if you're anxious, is, okay, how can you develop confidence, establish a better, a stronger, secure bond? But in a way, at some stage, you have every right to have your own needs. If you need to see your partner every day, if you need to spend time with your partner on weekends, there's nothing wrong with that. And so it's very important for you to maybe have a wake-up call or speak with someone you trust or speak with me. Okay, what do you really want? And I've made very funny reels on Instagram, like, what do you want? And if you're not clear about what you want, if you know what you want, but you kind of don't follow through, you're creating the conditions for you not to be happy in this relationship. This is not the right relationship for you. So again, I know there's always like, yeah, but if I don't accept this, I'm going to lose the relationship. Yes, but you will always be better off single, in line with what matters to you, in line with what you want, then in a relationship, always wanting to do more, always expecting the other to do something. And staying in relationships that just like, if I stay long enough, he'll change. No, that doesn't work like this. Quick word on conflict. Obviously, conflicts, you have to approach them calmly, constructively, and be solution focused. It's not me against you, it's we have a problem and let's look at it together to find a solution. Obviously, when there's a fight, there's a lot of emotions, there's a lot of anger, there's a lot of shouting. Take some time apart. It's not because the way you will deal with conflict is one will be more of the speaker, the other one will be the distancer. Obviously, the avoidant will go and leave the room, leave the house, doesn't want to confront you. Okay, accept that that's how they deal with conflict. Don't see it as like he doesn't care about me. See it like that's how he deals with emotion. We will touch base after we both calm down. Don't blame, don't criticize, but that's worth for every single relationship. And if there's something that bothers you, rather than keeping it to yourself, it's okay to express how you feel. Don't think that because avoidant can't express how they feel, you should not. And you should be ashamed of feeling this way or feeling unhappy, unsatisfied, etc. They are your partners. Their role is to make sure that it works as partners. And I like this word, partners, more than boyfriends, girlfriend, husband. Partner, you're a team. And if there's something that bothers you, they should be willing to listen, understand, and take action. Then it's a question of, okay, do you have unrealistic needs or not? Again, if you have strong, anxious attachment style, if you have a lot of insecurities, there's some work to be done. But again, understand what you want, understand the potential your ex or your current partner is providing in the relationship, whether they're willing to do the work. If you have any other questions about communication, about avoidance, let me know in the comment section, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.